Last time on Multiverse, we joined future Trunks in Universe 12 and how he originally ended up at the Multiverse Tournament. For him, a victory here would mean returning his timeline back to normal with the help of Purunga. Although we already know his fate in the ring, there are more mysteries to unravel here. Most notably, how will Emperor Vegeta, even if only so in another universe that doesn't concern him, react upon discovering he has a Half Saiyan, half-human son? This is part 64 of an ongoing series that was created by Salagir, Rogeru, and Xeno Black. Support them and catch a full using the links below. Hearing that purple-haired boy say something, the brash Emperor turns to rudely inquire if he said something to him. Though without any current interest in getting to know him, he made the remarks, "No, sir," causing the former to scoff that's what he thought. Raditz comments to his little brother that it looks like he's got some competition on who can irritate Vegeta the fastest. Though the feral version of our hero hisses that he can go screw himself. He'll beat everyone's bottom here if he has to. He bows to no man, including Vegeta, prompting the Emperor to interrupt. He informs the group that they should make a good impression among these universes. So if he finds any of them acting like a complete clown and making them look ridiculous, say like not showing proper respect to their rightful leader, for instance. Immortal or not, he himself is still dozens of times stronger than them, speaking to Kakarot in particular as he's the real one with behavioral issues. He better not think for a second that he won't pulverize them the instant he embarrasses them. He has no qualms about scattering his ashes here. Though with a bigger mouth than brain. Kakarot snarls that Vegeta thinks he's stronger. They can settle. But before getting the next sentence out, Raditz speaks over him and shouts that Kakarot humbly apologizes for his rude behavior, begging he be forgiven, forcing him to bow. The Emperor utters that was a wise move of the low-level warrior. Raditz better be sure to keep his leash close, or he knows what'll happen. As their leader walks off, the older of Bardock's sons thanks him for being so understanding. They have taken his words to heart. However, the fury still burns in Kakarot's stomach. He vows that one day, Vegeta will die. Why does stupid Raditz always have to get in the way of his vengeance? Nonetheless, soon, he shall dance over his skull. Mark his words. Spectating the entire confrontation, Trunks thinks that this version of his father is even darker than the one he met in the past before he changed for the better. 16 notes that his scanners are picking up an uneasy power within him. He believes it'd be wise to steer clear. Although, he finally found a Goku that's within his acceptable thresholds. He hopes to terminate him once and for all. With a bead of sweat, the Half Saiyan figures at least he'll finally be able to get his wish. His mind really elsewhere. He has a bad feeling about all of this. First Bojack, and now an evil version of his father with no redeeming qualities. Just how messed up are the other universes? A few hours pass as the other contestants are rounded up. Coldly piercing through a dicey cut of villain from a greater slice of life. Trunks can't help but scowl that since they arrived, they act like they own the place. He doesn't recognize the soldiers, but Frieza and his family clearly rule that universe. He feels sorry for those forced to be in servitude to those creatures. His companion replies that in their own world, Goku killed them all when they invaded Earth. But when he went back to the past, Trunks took him out himself. Which is correct, though the one behind Frieza and King Cold, he doesn't recognize. He assumes he also died in their universe somehow, or at least he hopes so. But at least there's one universe where hope does live on. Those guys over there. He saw them in photos and was told stories about their courage. Revealing Yamcha, Tien, Krillin, Some Guy, and Videl. And actually, after looking it up, and this is lifted directly from the Dragon Ball Multiverse fandom page, linked below. At some point, Yamcha was augmented into a cyborg by Dr. Gero. It was he who was given the designation of Artificial Human number 17. He was likely selected instead of Lapis and Lazuli, who became Artificial Humans 17 and 18 in the standard Dragon Ball timeline. Gero's motivation for creating the Artificial Humans in Universe 9 is currently unknown. Son Goku never arrived on Earth. Henceforth, he could have never destroyed the Red Ribbon Army. It's also unknown if any iteration of Android 18 exists in this universe, whether it be Lazuli or somebody else. It could very well be possible Yamcha is the only one converted into a cyborg by Gero. As such, it's unknown who, if anyone, destroyed the Red Ribbon Army, fueling Gero's desire for revenge. Or maybe, Gero's not a bad guy at all here. And while we're talking about these folks and to dive even deeper into the lore, it was confirmed in the Dragon Ball Multiverse novel series that Tien and Krillin did die at some point. Because so, they were able to train under King Kai and learn the Kaioken. Also, this is Bulma, and this is Trunks, the spawn of her and Yamcha, and is married to Videl. Lore peddling aside, Trunks noticed this before I even turned the page. He states that there's a version of himself and his mother there. He looks different from himself, but it's definitely him. Yet again, scanning with the scanners, 16 hypothesizes that there's about a 50% difference, most likely different fathers. Which makes sense. He's likely fully human. As the robot's tone quickly turns serious, and asking what's wrong. In the shadows, we can make an assumption. "17 utters to his sister that it looks like those bird people weren't lying. There's definitely more humans left than they realized. Who replies that now they can definitely have more fun than before. Furious! It can't be! Those monsters are alive and here too? Though turning not to Trunks, but the Emperor Saiyan. 18 laughs if it isn't Vegeta again, and looks like he's still a shrimp she sees. Causing him to tersely question just who the heck this woman is. She best mind her own business if she knows what's good for her. Which only encourages her to continue her chortles and seeing he's still the same smug idiot from their world. It takes her back a bit. Stroking her hair, she smirks to the little man that they killed him for giggles. They were nothing to them, even when he tried copying her by turning blonde. A statement that gets his attention. He now wonders just who these two disrespectful individuals are. They know his name. And what she means by blonde. Do they mean Super Saiyan? There's no way they could know so much. Unless... With a new voice cackles out with laughter from the Saiyan universe. Kakarot howls that he never thought he would see two punks addressing their dear prince like this. It's honestly too funny. But with one look, he can tell that they are human somehow. Which means he himself needs to kill him. 17 finally piping up. He smiles. Well, look at this. Their long-awaited Goku. He's definitely a bit different based on their data, but worthy to die all the same. At last, they can finally get rid of their programming once they end this miserable fool's life. But who cares about the tournament? Kakarot is fine with teaching these little brats some manners here and now. Again, his brother in tow demanding he wait. As something appears to get the attention of everyone in attendance. Boo remarks that it seems tensions have finally started to run high among those familiar with each other, though the power everyone feels doesn't Vegeta or Gaster anyone. But Trunks letting his anger swell over at the sight of the androids. Those murderous pigs! The mere thought they even breathe, knowing what they've done, is an injustice he cannot live with. "16 stops him. He recommends his counterpart let it go and not make a scene. Since this is a tournament, he may have a shot in the ring. Resolving to let his benevolence win. He's right. This little display of power does manage to pique the interest of those nearby. Bujin thinks he recognizes that guy. He's the one who killed Gokua. Or Gakua. The dubism being Koku. Back in their own universe. Zangya backs this up. He seems to be just as strong as ever. Of course, Bojack looks at him as just another small fry. If they killed him in their universe, they can surely do it again. He's not a threat to them. When Vegeta, the Emperor one, finally realizes something. There's no doubt about it. That boy has Saiyan blood coursing through his veins. He's a Super Saiyan. But no Saiyan has such colorful features, referring to his hair and eyes, of course. So he must be mixed race. But who are his parents? Vegeta likely speculates that he would know who either a Saiyan mother or father are, given that there are so few of their kind left in this universe. Really poking the bear. The androids decide to take a hop and skip to offer a visit to dear old Trunks. They comment how they've been searching for him for years. So this is where he's been hiding all this time. And it seems like he's trained a bit. But still, he's nothing compared to them. Which likely isn't the case. Trunks barks that the two of them are scum. Just them existing and having to share the same oxygen as them makes him want to vomit. They better be warned here and now. If they take another step, the organizers won't be able to save them from his wrath. 18 giggles, so much macho talk coming from a pretty boy. He doesn't need to worry. They'll kill him in due time just as they did to his mother, prompting a quick interruption from 16. He demands that both of them leave now. They have overstayed their welcome. He and Trunks want nothing to do with them. Is that clear? Getting a load of this guy. 17 states that it appears Trunks managed to make a friend. He's pretty tall, and he doesn't look entirely human. Who is he? Who simply tells he's a creation of Dr. Gero designated as Android 16. That's all they need to know. Coming to a shock to the cyborgs, they didn't know that the Doctor's earlier prototypes were still active. They thought there was only the two of them left. With a bit of silence, 18 rolls her eyes that they'll be back eventually. Trunks won't escape them forever. She can tell that he is the version from their world. Her brother continues that as for Android 16, he will rue the day that he sided with these deplorable humans in the end. Hopping back to their quarters, it looks like that despicable Gero had more machines than they thought. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, they completely destroyed his lab. They're the only ones who should be left. After their leave, Trunks takes in the harsh reality that too many of these universes are being run by detestable vermin. What went so wrong in Universe 14 that causes Z-Fighters to lose this bad? A few more hours pass by. Peering over at one of the more interesting contestants, the mother of Ickle, the super strong warrior that was announced literally 15 years ago but was never born. The same one who, if has any surprise impact on the ending of the series, will just cause me to retire. But assuming that won't be the case, Ickle's mother chides an attendant that she expects nothing but the best for her child when he's finally born. Hence why she needs things done now, not tomorrow. Though listening, the Varga responds with a bit of an annoyed sigh, assuring he hears her. But inside, he knows he doesn't get paid enough for this stuff. Given her less than usual physique for a warrior, it's kind of hard to believe that someone like her is the strongest fighter in an entire universe. What happened to make such a reality? Truth is, 16 reasons that it could be anything. Although a strange power is emitting from her, he can't pinpoint its exact nature. Of course, we've already been made aware that it's her unborn child, not the woman herself that's the warrior. But he wasn't born in time for his match against 17, so he is disqualified. When a few familiar voices enter the arena, one shouts to her dad that she's so excited. A calming voice responds that he knows, and he's happy for her. A grumbly baritone rumbles that he just hopes there's a good challenge here. Those bird brains better not disappoint. Before a teenage timbre comments that against him and his dad, he'd be surprised if anyone could last 5 seconds. A shadowy figure warns that everybody should stay sharp out here. Friendly tournament or not, who knows what's already here ready to cause some trouble. Universe 16, also known as Vegeta in some Brawl's universe. Goten calls out to his best friend that he's so pumped. Once they become Gotenks, he just knows they're gonna be unstoppable, causing Trunks to holler back in agreement. He wants to explore this place while they can though. Who knows what they'll find? The duo jetting off, Gohan notices someone in particular. Is that? Returning the surprise, Trunks sees his old friend too. Getting a look at him, he's much older than the one he ran into in the past, but he still knows it's actually him. This brings back some memories. The former tells his family that he'll be back in a bit. He sees an old friend that he hasn't spoken to in almost 3 decades. Speaking to the man still inside the entryway, who we already know is Vegito, Piccolo brings attention to the fact that his son from the future is also here. The fused warrior should go see him, making Vegito laugh. He's sure Trunks will be surprised to see what's become of his father, but in due time, he will go talk to him. And he can also tell that he's kept up on his training, wondering how much stronger he's gotten in comparison to the Trunks of his own universe. Landing, Gohan happily greets his old friend saying it's good to see him again, and he's grown, which is kinda bizarre, as Gohan was like 11 or 12 when they last saw each other and Trunks was 17-ish? Then again, maybe I'm the only one who stopped growing after 7th grade. My crushing insecurities aside, Trunks could say the same thing. He grew much differently than the Gohan from his world. Laughing this off, though clearly a bit embarrassed, the times of peace have really gotten him spoiled. Things have been great for the most part since the last time they saw each other. Acknowledging Android 16, Gohan states it's a pleasure to meet him again. He's sure Trunks told him what happened back where he's from. And of course he has. The robot expresses how glad his counterpart fought to protect nature, even if it meant death. Trunks takes this as an opportunity to point out the new faces in Gohan's group as well. Naturally, he recognizes Piccolo, and himself, but not the others. Who are they? Looking back towards him, the woman who is by his side is his wife Fidel. The younger girl by her is their daughter. Her name's Pan. Then, the young man next to Trunks is Goten, his younger brother. Then there's his half-sister Brawl, who likely won't be relevant in this tournament at all. Future Trunks takes this all in. The family has really grown over the years. Since Goku's been dead, he knows it's not easy being the main caretaker of things. Reminder, this Trunks only knows that Goku decided to stay dead after the defeat of Cell. He has no idea that he came back to fight Majin Buu or any of that. Continuing, he'd like him to tell him, how are his mother and father doing? How are Vegeta and Bulma? Which brings in an interesting conversation. He's sorry to say this, but just like his own dad, Vegeta's gone. Forever. It's a long story, but he no longer exists in this world or the next. Bulma has actually remarried. Like a punch to the chest, the time traveler never thought that final moment would be the final moment he would see his father. However, Gohan does have some good news. There is a person in this universe who came with him. He's not out in the open yet, but he is. But before we can finish that thought, something catches both of their attentions. Same with Vegito. He smirks at this particular key and the idea that he decided to come to this tournament. He sure brings back a lot of memories from his progenitor's experience with him. The nightmare never ends. It's Cell. Striking fear into many of our heroes. The bio-android chuckles that he bets this is a past variation of his universe. Quote, the Piccolo is a dead giveaway, though nobody else of worth has shown up. Too bad. Spotting a worthy foe. The Fiend then chortles that here's little Gohan all grown up, and Trunks is also with him. How delightful. The sons of Goku and Vegeta that delivered so many opportunities are now standing before him again. Perhaps coming here was wise after all. The chance to kill Gohan a second time and to score a third kill on Trunks would make for an excellent warm-up. A perfect way to showcase his complete power. Speaking only loud enough for Trunks to hear, Gohan apologizes to leave so soon, but he needs to be there for his family in case that monster gets any bright ideas. Leaving the time traveler to get lost in his own thoughts. Cell, the biological demon of terror, is now here. How can this be happening? Even after so many years, he's still not on his level. They're all in grave danger if Cell makes a move. Freaking Jiro! He deserves a fate worse than hell for creating so much pain and suffering across the multiverse. Trunks would kill him himself given the opportunity. To think his world, brought to the brink of destruction, is actually one of the lucky ones. How sad is that? Kicking it over to the best character of the series, Zenbu spouts to himself how wonderful it is that he gets to meet Perfect Cell, the greatest threat the Earth ever faced, after himself. He must say, it's like looking at a slightly lesser version of himself. Too bad he can never become truly perfect, unlike the Majin. But he alone needn't hog the spotlight. Buu's personal wish has been granted. The one he's been waiting for to finally show himself. The only one he could never defeat. Vegito. Though he is curious if he's even a match for him now. For now, it's time for a nap. He doesn't think there'll be any more interesting participants. Almost all the cards have been set. Now he just needs to deal everyone's hands. Spotting the most vanilla of all universes. Trunks lays eyes on Goku himself, and his father. He's surprised to see another group got here so fast, and they seem almost identical to Universe 16. Android 16 utters that this is good news. Now there are two versions of Goku to kill. He likes these odds. But that's not what Trunks was saying. He's sure he's not being serious anyway. Hopefully. However, that's not all. Universe 19 has also just been filled up. He doesn't sense much power from them, but their armor looks tough. Before peering over to the original big bad of this event. He might think it's impossible, but it's Broly. Again wondering what the organizers could have been thinking. Bojack and Cell are bad enough, but to have that psychopath here is too much. The robot iterates that he is the legendary Super Saiyan that Trunks spoke of. His scanners simply fail to fully gauge his power. He might be the strongest one here. After knowing all those who'll be participating, it's clear as day that Trunks has no chance at actually winning. Gohan and the others, of his world, he's sorry, he won't be able to revive them. Still, his Saiyan blood refuses to cave in. Hope may still live on. He will fight as hard as he can and prevail to the bitter end. At the very least, he can test his limits and find out where he's lacking. And while he is skeptical of the Vargas at first, he also achieved his dream in getting to see his friends of the past. Plus, his father is right there. In a little bit, he'll go over and introduce himself. And of course, he'll also speak to Goku. Gohan was right. He does make things better just by being here. It's good to see him back alive. Just then, the announcer bellows that all the challengers have arrived. They've randomly selected the matches, so may the fighters get ready. 16 asks his friend if he's ready for these fights. And he is. These battles will indeed stand against the test of time itself. The android agrees. Trunks should just know that if they somehow meet in the ring, he won't be holding back. And the same goes for the big old bag of gears. Trunks doesn't plan on pulling punches either. As Nappa and Cargo enter the ring. It now begins.